Okay, we'll call to order this meeting of the Plans Review Subcommittee of the Tucson-Pima County Historical Commission, Thursday, March 30th. Do a roll call first. Ricky Riojas.
Here.
Carol Griffith.
Here.
Joel Ireland.
Here.
Savannah McDonald.
Here.
And Jan Mulder, I'm here. And Terry Majewski is out today. And next on the agenda is approval of the legal action report and minutes for March 9th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
I will move that we approve the legal action report minutes for the meeting of March 9th, 2023.
Is there,
presented.
is there a second?
This is Ricky. I'll second.
All in favor, Carol,
Aye.
Ricky,
Aye.
Savannah,
Aye.
Joel,
Yeah.
and Jan, I. Motion passes 5-0. Next on the agenda is historic preservation zone review cases reviewed under UDC section 5.8, TSM 9-02.0.0 historic design review guidelines and revised Secretary of the Interior standards and guidelines. The first case, 3A, is 380 South Myers Street, historical marker installation, review of text and placement, courtesy review, Barrio Historic Preservation Zone, contributing resource rehabilitation standards. And Savannah, were you going to recuse on this one?
I am, yes.
Okay, and we'll, do you want Jody to text you when we're ready to go for 3B then?
Yes, I was just sending her my cell phone now so she could do that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Savannah. Oh, thank you.
Thanks. And is someone here to present for the applicant?
Can you guys hear me? It's Herb Stratford.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm at the airport, so I was leaving my thing on mute unless I was talking. So yes, I'm Herb Stratford. I am presenting this, and I am with Stratford Artworks, and we are partnering with Pima County. I believe Scott O'Mac is on the call as well from Pima County. We are jointly developing the Teatro Carmen project, and as part of that project, I have been discussing with Jody and others, Terry and others, about updating and adding to the historical markers that are at the Carmen. Currently, there is one that I believe was installed in 1985 that's just on the front of the Teatro Carmen. What we are proposing and what you have in front of you in your packets is basically 3 markers instead of 1. The first marker would be for the Carmen property. The second would be to highlight the history of the Black Elks who were in the property and expanded the adjoining building. They were there for about 50 years. And then on the corner, there was a Chinese market. It was the Lee Henry Market, and that was there until about 1961 when it was demolished. And so we want to put up a marker for each one of those historical sites. So what you have in front of you is the draft language that we have developed in conjunction. Scott O'Mac from the county, myself, and Damian Klinko from the Tucson Historic Preservation Foundation have developed these 3 marker texts. And then there's a rendering by Poster Frost McDonald, by Corky and his team, of where those markers would go on the building. We are currently in process. You may have noticed if you've been in the neighborhood, there's a construction fence up. We're starting to work on the facade that you guys had reviewed a few months ago, and that is that's starting presently. And so the 1985 marker will be coming down this week, and so we wanted to start this process. So when the construction is done, we can put all 3 back up, and that's why we're here today.
Great, thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission members?
Sorry, it wouldn't let me unmute. This is Ricky. I have a comment.
Great, go ahead.
Well, comment and a question. I just want to verify. So you're going to have the Teatro Carmen marker over top of the Elks marker, and then the last marker at the corner of the street.
Yeah, I think that's what we were thinking, that they would need to be stacked, because there is sort of that, basically, there's an adobe wall. They're the remnants of the original adobe wall between the Carmen and the expanded 1940, whatever, 41, 46 Elks. There's that wall. There's the face of an adobe wall that's original. And so we were going to put them there. The only thing I have not completely figured out is that obviously these need to be in both English and Spanish. So I sort of have to figure out the dimensions of that. But yes, to answer your question, Ricky, that is what I was thinking.
Okay. And then I was also wondering if it was maybe relevant to include that, right? Like the timeline here is like pretty inclusive between 1922 and 1937, and then to 1986. But I know you guys are restoring it in part, well, actually in large part, because it was allowed to sit abandoned for 40 years, essentially.
And I think to that point, one of our stipulations, one of our purchase agreement details with the Rawlings family, with Bacon Industries, who did own it, you're right, for close to 40 years, was that we would acknowledge the Rawlings family contribution to the property, to sort of stewarding that property and sort of maintaining it as they did. I didn't feel that it was appropriate to put that into the historical marker, since it seems like that was not necessarily, I mean, it is a part of the history of the building, but I felt like we were trying to maybe adhere to that other history. So I would be coming back to you guys with something about the Rawlings family, and that is probably something that wouldn't happen until we were done with phase 3. Phase 1 is the facade, the patio is phase 2, phase 3 is the interior of the building. So I was sort of thinking that we would address that a little bit later.
And is that going to be like an additional marker that would be on the building, or is that just something that you'd have like inside programming?
I don't really know. When we negotiated the purchase of the building from the Rawlings family, they had asked for a marker specifically, on the outside of the building on Meyer Street, and they were trying to get into specifics. And I was very clear to them, and they agreed with me once I made the case that that was not something I could agree to in a purchase agreement. It had to go through different review bodies, and there was going to be a process to that. So I think they just wanted their history to be acknowledged.
I want to make sure we're
Okay. And then, okay, I think that's mostly, those are the only questions that I have in here. Really, the only other thing would just be that I just was wondering the choice that was made to leave out that Borderlands was there, or is that just like you're just considering that in the theme of the Elks?
I think that's an interesting point. There's a couple things. I did spend a lot of time talking with Barclay Goldsmith, who was the one sort of responsible for Borderlands being in the building when they were in the building. And he felt that it was a very small part of their history. Like, I think he said they only ended up doing, 3 to 4 shows in the building. He did not seem particularly sort of interested in that being recognized. I think also there's a question of space. I mean, there was, in some of the research I've done, there's been a lot of other things that we could have talked about. I mean, Henry Rawlings and RuPaul performed in that space in '86. There's a lot of different interesting things that happened. So I think in order to be economical in how much space we have, I think I was trying to sort of hit the major milestones.
And I know you're talking about space. How big are you intending for each of these to be? I know they look, well, the text looks about the same between the 3 of them.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Sorry, I thought I heard something. We were trying to figure out from a word count. how much space we had based on the one that's on the building now. But the one on the building now is it's like that book form. I'm sure you're all familiar with it, where there's a pole and then it goes to the left and the right, and then so it's not flat. It's like a pyramid shape. And so I was sort of using the word count on the existing pole to be what we were shooting for. But I will say, like the Lee Henry Market marker has a little more copy. But I feel like since that one's down on the corner and not double stacked with the Carmen and the Elks, it probably can be a little bit larger. But honestly, what I probably need to do and what the next step would be to create a maquette or to print out something at scale and figure out what that font size is, and then go down with a piece of paper and tape it up and see how it looks and see how much space it can be. But I didn't want to do that until we had some confidence that you guys were all comfortable with that. And then I have to go and get the Spanish translation done as well before I can do sort of a test.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And I have no further questions.
Jan, I had a question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Jan.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Herb, it's great that you're translating into Spanish, but I was just curious with the Lee Henry Market, did he have any Chinese characters outside of his market to announce that it was the Lee Henry Market? Have you thought about putting Chinese characters just for the translation of the Lee Henry Market on there? Not the whole thing, but just the name of the market.
I absolutely love that idea. We have had absolutely zero luck finding any photographs of the front of the market. We have one oblique picture sort of from down Simpson Street, sort of a little bit raised from the street so we can see the side of the market. And so we know what the profile of the building was on the Simpson side, but we have no photographs of the front of the building because there's just nothing. There's the photo that Ricky found of the Carmen in 1917, and then there's the Habs photo from 1970, I believe. But the market had been torn down in 61. So I have nothing. And we've gone to the Chinese Cultural Center. We've been reaching out to the Tucson Chinese community. Nobody seems to have photographs, but that would be an interesting, we can certainly continue that search. And I love that idea if there'd be a way to incorporate that in some way.
Maybe even if it wasn't on the sign, you could still just translate the name. Because it's just a nod to the Chinese community. So, it's not translated fully, but it is a nod to the community by putting the translation up there.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I will reach out and try and make sure that we can figure out who can give us those characters. But I think that's a great suggestion. And I think even if it's just that, I think that would be important, and I'd be happy to do that.
Cool.
Thanks. Carol or Joel, any questions or comments?
No, I like all the comments, particularly made by Jody, and I think the clarification on the signage is good. It was just a thought, more of the history maybe could be put inside the buildings, in some type of exhibit or something, pictures or something in the building to expand on some of the things that maybe wouldn't be, it would just be too busy to put too much outside for all of the history of these buildings.
And that is the plan. That is absolutely the plan, to have some sort of interpretive history inside the building. We just haven't gotten to that point yet. But, when we did the Fox, we found that, the further we got into the project, the further sort of hidden history came to light, and people would find things in their, grandma's scrapbook or find old photos. And so that's definitely something that, we're hoping we will continue to get. We found a lot less of that information in our searches so far, but I know that there's probably some things out there. So yeah, we're definitely planning on dedicating some space to a larger historical sort of, I don't want to say timeline, but historical information about the property, since it's such a unique conglomeration of Hispanic and Chinese and African American cultures in the barrio.
Thank you. That'd be great.
And this is Joel. Didn't want to interrupt, but no, I think the discussion's been really good. So it answered everything I was thinking. So good.
Terrific, and I don't have any additional comments or questions either. Is there someone prepared to make a motion, and is there any part of the discussion you think we need to include, or are we okay with it as presented?
This is not an action item. This is a courtesy review. So
Oh,
you can make a
thank you.
motion.
Sorry about that. So that means we'll see this again?
Only if there's significant change. This is a county.
Okay.
This is a county
Oh, got
project.
it. That's right. That's right. Thanks. Yeah, great. Well, thank you very much. This was really informative and exciting.
Absolutely, thank you. And I think I'll be happy to forward the final materials just so you all can see it and things like that. And clearly, when they get put up, we'll invite you to come down, all of you. But yeah, I think the next step is for us to do the translation, add the Chinese characters, and then get going on it. But I really wanted to have you guys take a look at it, and then also just so you knew what was going on. So if you drive by and you see the 1985 plaque is down, you don't worry. So.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Give me a second. Let me,
Text Savannah.
yeah.
We'll give Jody a second to text Savannah so she can return for the next item.
Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. Crap. I think I sent it to the wrong person. I was one digit off and I had to do that again. Sorry about that. So she should be coming back on.
Okay.
I think from now on, I'm going to change the agenda a little bit. If we're going to have more county items coming, to note that it's a courtesy review and that it's a county project.
Yeah,
So
thank
you
you.
know-
I see it says, I went back and looked, I see it said courtesy review, and I probably read that, but by the time it was all said and done, I conveniently forgotten that, so thank you.
I'm back.
Great, welcome back. So moving on to item 3B, HPZ 22-075.
Go ahead and read the video.
92 West Simpson. Construction of a detached carport and storage unit, full review, Barrio Historic Preservation Zone, contributing resource and rehabilitation standards. Who's here to present for the owner?
Hello, my name is Nick Trippon with Interior Trends Remodel.
And I'm Kathy Nieto, owner of Interior Trends Remodel. We're representing the homeowners today.
Okay, do you want to go ahead with the presentation?
Yeah,
you want, before you, did
sorry,
you want
Steph.
the Barrio?
Yeah, Barrio, Historical. Yeah, because we didn't have that in our packet.
Yeah, my person didn't get it posted. We've had some posting issues the last couple of days. So this project was heard at the Barrio Historico March 13th meeting. It was a continuation for them. There was some concern originally, the way that the carport storage unit was designed. Barrio had some comments, and so the property applicants changed some elements of it to kind of bring it more in line with what is visible out there. There was still a little bit of concern that it was compatible, but it seemed a little large for the area. Ultimately, the motion was made and for recommending approval of the project as presented, and it passed with a vote of 1. The one dissenter was concerned that it seemed a little large for the area, even though there was other sheds in the neighborhood that had a kind of consistent look.
So what was the vote?
2-1
Oh, 2-1.
in favor of.
Okay.
And Ricky has her hand up.
Ricky?
So it wasn't anything to do with the like any of the other design features. It was just that they thought it was too big.
So originally they had some windows on there, and they had some of the materials that they were using on there. But when it got continued, they had taken out the windows for the second review. They had removed the stucco. They had put on a tongue and groove siding on the side and changed the roofing material, and then the rough sawn beams and everything like that. So they took their cues from the comments that Barrio Historico had made at the first meeting and made those modifications.
And this is Jan. I'll just make one comment for those who haven't been out to the site. There's some stucco walls and a vehicle gate that's gone in without permits. And my understanding is Michael's going to look at that when he comes back. And that's not part of this review.
Correct.
So Jody, did you have anything else from a staff standpoint?
I did not.
Okay. So if Kathy or Nick or Nick want to go ahead and give your presentation, that'd be great.
all right, thank you. First, before we get started, Jody, I had emailed you a letter and a picture from the homeowner. Did you receive?
They were forwarded today. Sorry, they were forwarded it today.
Oh, okay.
Is there a chance you can send it to the team here? Or?
She did that, but
I
frankly,
sent
for
it
me,
to the board.
it was without context, so it was kind of hard to know what the issue was. I think part of it was the responding to Barrio, but we hadn't seen anything from them.
I see. So has everyone, I just wanted to make sure they received the homeowner's letter.
Yeah, it was kind of meaningless, but we got it.
Oh, okay. All right. Alrighty, and then the other thing, Jody, real quick, is our understanding was from the Barrio review is he wanted more metal on the siding in lieu of wood. And we were trying to kind of match what the picture we sent is showing what the neighbor has, which is a tongue and groove siding and metal roof. That was all that was about.
We didn't understand. I didn't get out of that meeting that it had to do with size. I think his, again, I think he just wanted more metal.
Yeah.
Sure. So I took up the took notes on that. They reviewed the notes and found my notes from the meeting minutes where he does discuss the size.
Okay.
He felt it was comfortable, but a little large.
Okay.
But regardless, he was his prerogative to know. But it did still pass with a favorable motion. Nick, were you going to share your screen, or did you want me to share my screen for the plans?
Yeah, if you could.
Sure.
Thank you.
So keep in mind, this board has starting over with talking about your descriptions.
Mhm.
So just go through your presentation.
Okay, alrighty. All right, well, just to let you know, this development zone for this project is defined as a corner lot. The height of this new addition ranges from 9 feet 5 inches to 10 foot 9 inches tall. The existing residence is 24 feet tall plus, and then there's a duplex to the east, which is 12 feet tall. In comparison to the existing structures, we made it smaller overall. We're asking for a 5-foot building setback to the property line in lieu of 10, as the existing buildings are built to the property line. The exterior of the new addition will have an 8x8 metal post with a 1x6 tongue and groove siding, following the recommendation of the review board from Barrio, painted to match the existing house. The existing fences and walls are stucco and metal, which is compatible to our addition. All the utilities serving this building will be underground. We feel that the materials are compatible with other homes in the historic zone and reflect the style of the carports in the neighborhood.
Nick, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I
No.
think that's pretty much it. I don't know if what Glenn had added on that's the homeowner. He says the neighbor to the south has a secure storage shed, similar size and construction, and is within 14 inches of his north wall. It's got the same tongue and groove siding and metal roof that we're proposing. And his is 15 feet tall by 10 feet tall, or excuse me, 15 by 10 by 12 feet high. Just to give you an idea. That was what he had sent.
Is that what's shown in the picture that was forwarded to us?
Yes,
The photo?
yes, that is the shed that's right just to the south.
This is Joe. Is your neighbor's shed a new construction, or is it,
It's old.
it's an older building?
Yes, sir.
Do you know whether it's a contributing structure or non-contributing structure?
Look.
I'm gonna guess that it's a non-contributor. Do you have the address of that, Nick?
No, I don't. But according to the map, it's showing as contributing.
The house, not the structure.
Well, it has a C on the house and a C on that little structure.
Okay, thanks. That was my question. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm curious in where, because you're looking at
If you're
this-
standing where we're gonna propose the carport, you're looking straight at that shed.
yeah, this is, can you see the map? I guess I didn't.
Just the
Oh,
photo. So you're
um,
saying, Nick, that shed is kind of centered on the other shed?
Let's see, got my site plan here.
Does the site plan show that?
Yeah, it pretty much
Pretty
is.
close.
It's offset to the east just a little bit.
So where's the shed that the applicant sent of the neighbor's property? So this is your development zone. Where's that
That's
shed?
what- right there. Where, can you see my,
No.
you can see we have the lot outlined. It's the C that's touching. That's the roof underneath of that shed.
Oh, so it's south of, it says
It's,
this project?
yeah, it's south. The homeowner had put north and it's south of him. He's north of this one.
The new structure would be directly north of the shed that you see that we sent a photo of.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. I got
Okay.
it. I
Thank you.
understand what you're talking about.
I have a question about that as well. I mean, I don't see property lines on the site plan. Is the property line aligned with the wall?
What's that?
Is the
The-
property line on
It's
the
one
wall?
big parcel. Back in July of 28th of 2022, the homeowner combined both parcels.
I'm talking about the property line with your neighbor that has the shed.
Yeah, it runs with the patio wall. So if you see on the site plan, we're calling out existing patio wall.
Mhm.
And there's an existing 6-foot metal fence that runs on the property line.
It's centered on the property line.
Yes. And
Okay.
the shed is, we show approximately 16 inches off. He's noting 14.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh.
Carol or Ricky?
I was just, I have no additional questions. I had a question on that property line, but it's been addressed.
This is Joel. Can I ask one more question, just for clarification? What was the, I've forgotten the name. What was the local committee's problem with their comments?
What we had proposed a stucco structure with stucco columns, similar to the one that's in one of the pictures.
Yeah,
And they didn't like all the stucco. They felt that siding was more in line, whether it was metal or wood. And then of course the homeowner chose wood, just because, it'd be awful hot in there with everything being metal.
right.
So, and we had 2 windows on the front with the door, and he felt that it was more like a casita than a carport storage. So we removed those per their recommendations.
Oh, okay, so you've done what they said and, okay.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yeah, we went to metal posts in lieu of stucco columns and no stucco on the building.
All right, thank you so much. Mhm.
Thank you.
Ricky?
The only question I have is just, you're talking about utilities. The only thing you're running there is electricity, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, there's no water, there's no nothing. And there's a pool panel right where the pool equipment is, and that's what we're tying off of. It's an actual 125 amp panel.
And it'll be
Okay.
underground.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any other questions then.
Thank you.
Okay, and I don't have any other questions or comments either. Is someone prepared to make a motion or?
I have a few questions, Jan.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Sorry, I thought you had, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Well, I was just curious about the wood siding. I mean, is there a lot of that in this neighborhood? It's not a very desert-proof exterior material. Won't last very long. The owners know that.
Well, there's maintenance required with it, and they understand that. but they felt, along with the Barrio board, that it was more in keeping than a stucco structure.
Or metal.
Yeah, and well, they really were set against metal just because of the
The
heat.
heat.
Okay.
I had that question as well, I had a little less when you said that material, the tongue and groove was on the neighbor's shed, but I just wondered in the development zone, it didn't seem like there was much siding like that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not aware of much of it, but if there's a precedent right next to you, I guess I wouldn't
Yeah.
have as much hesitation.
That's kind of what we went to follow per their recommendations.
And then, sorry, just to clarify, you're asking for relief of a set, is that 5 foot setback? Is that?
Yeah, in lieu of 10.
Okay.
And then the other thing, if I can add real quick, with stucco, because it is a frame structure, we have to do a weep screed, and they did not want to see that also. That was another comment the board had made. So going to wood eliminated that.
That was all my questions. Thanks, Jan. Sorry.
Okay, no, sorry
Thank you.
about that. Anybody else have any comments or questions, further discussion?
This is Ricky. The 5 foot setback that's already allowed, right? Do we have to put that in our motion?
Normally, we've specified if we're waiving or the setback requirement per se and approving it as presented. We just have made note of it, I believe. Is that correct, Jody?
Correct.
Yeah, the building department told us with this review, we needed to state that we were doing a 5 foot setback in lieu of 10.
That was my only other question.
And then all the other buildings, on the property are pretty much to the property line. So.
Savannah, would you be prepared to make a motion, or anybody else?
Sure, I'm happy to. I'm a little getting over a cold, so apologies for that. But yeah, I'm happy to. Okay. On the matter of HPZ 22-075 at 86 through 92 West Simpson, I move to recommend approval of the project as presented, including the requested 5 foot setback on the south.
Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Carol.
Thank you. Any further discussion? We're ready to vote. Savannah,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Ricky,
Aye.
Joel, Joel. Well, Jan votes aye.
This is Joel. Sorry, did I miss that? Sorry.
Yeah, the motion passes 5-0. Thank you, and I think Jody will explain to you any further steps if you have questions.
We do. What's the next step?
Both of the recommendations, the ones from Barrio and the ones from PRS, are forwarded to the director. The director will issue a decision letter. That decision letter typically gets issued once the minutes and stuff have been written. So it usually takes about a week and a half to get those done.
Okay, so we can let the homeowner know what to expect.
And there's a, from the date of the decision letter, there's a 14-day appeal period. So if there is an appeal, the appeal comes from either you, the applicant, the property owner. It comes from the Barrio Historic Zone Advisory Board or the Plans Review Subcommittee. An individual member of those advisory boards cannot appeal on their own. They would have to hold a special meeting to vote on whether or not award the advisory board's appeal. So if there was a chance that they were going to appeal, we would have to note a meeting, and it would have to be done within that 14-day appeal period. And then they would appeal. If you decide to appeal, whatever, then you also have to put your appeal in within that 14-day appeal period. And there's a fee associated with it. The appeal gets submitted to the city. Any appeals then are heard by mayor and council during that appeal period. And if it gets appealed, you cannot get a building permit. So you're just in a holding until the appeal is satisfied by mayor and council. For the record, we don't get many appeals. We've had one since I've been here, like 4.5 years, but I have to tell you about it. If there's no appeals after that 14-day appeal period, then you can submit your plans. If there's any conditions that are noted in the decision letter, you're going to have to revise your plans to note that and resubmit them. And that's it. If you have,
All right.
let me know.
Hey, Jody, is there a way we could get a copy of what you just read us?
Yeah, it should be in the flow chart, I think. But I will find that and send it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Uh-huh.
it.
We appreciate all your time. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, next task force on inclusivity report recommendations. Is there any discussion or update from members of that team, Ricky or Carol?
No, I think Terry is still working on it, but she hasn't reached out to us about it yet.
Okay, moving on to item 5, current issues for information and or discussion. 5A, minor reviews. Jody, any updates?
We had one minor review. Michael did a bunch before he left. We had one minor review Monday at 548 East Speedway for solar panels. Ricky helped me out with that. Did you want to talk about it, Ricky?
Yeah, they're having solar panels are going to be raised like up at an angle instead of the flat ones that we usually see, but they're doing that because the building is flat. They have, I can't remember what it's called. Like they have like a little wall on top, like with the flat buildings that have, what is that, Jody?
Parapet.
They have a
wall.
parapet. Yeah, so you're not going to be able to see any of the solar panels because they're covered by the parapet.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Ricky. There were some other reviews. I let me think about that. Did Michael go over those, or they were after our 9th meeting? He did. When did he do those reviews? Nope. He did those. He should have reported those. He did, yeah. So Michael reported all the other reviews that he did at the last meeting.
Great. Any update on appeals? Any appeals to report on?
No appeals.
5C, zoning violations.
We're continuing to work with property owners. We have one that you just mentioned that I'll have Michael look into what's going on, but we're continuing to work with property owners to get them addressed and hopefully not go through the whole citation and zoning violation process.
Good. 5D, any review process issues?
No, just the one that I mentioned earlier. If it's hopefully we will be seeing more potential county reviews. They'll probably be related to owned or sponsored projects. Fingers crossed. And if that's the case, then I will put that it's a county review. They'll always be courtesy reviews. They won't be full reviews because their code is set up differently than ours. So they don't actually have any locally designated properties. They just have National Register listed properties.
Got it.
So, but I'll try to remember to do that to make it a little bit more clear so you know who's what. Anyways, yes, I'll try to make that a little bit more clear.
Thank you. Anybody else have any review process issues? Do we receive any public comments?
I'm sorry you cut out for a minute.
Oh, sorry,
Can you
did
repeat
we
that?
receive any public comments before the deadline?
We did not have any public comments.
Okay. And that looks like our next scheduled meeting is April 13th. Do we have a sense of tentative agenda items?
Yes, so I expect that we will have a project from our park, a project from West University, and we will have another county-sponsored courtesy review for Tucson Mountain Park. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Okay. Great.
Jan, this is Joel. I have a conflict on Thursday, the 18th. So I just let you know that I have to be in court, so I can't get out of it. So
On
I
the
just
13th?
be aware. Yeah, on Thursday, the 13th.
On Thursday, the 13th.
Yeah.
Anyone
Okay.
else have a known conflict?
I haven't been arrested. I'm representing somebody.
Not true, sorry.
So I just thought I'd let people know. Thanks. Okay.
Thank you. Does anybody else have a known conflict at this point?
Nope.
Right. Well, is there anything else that we need to discuss before we adjourn?
I don't think so.
Okay, if that's the case, we're adjourned at 1:49. Thanks all.
Thank you, Jan.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good job.
Everybody.
Bye.
Okay.